Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the series as much as I am. After I watched part 59, I thought when he was marking out the shots on the chart, I thought it would be pretty easy to make Excel do that for me. So what I've done is I've created a file here, and I'll attach it to the video so you can download it. And this is for if you want to be able to just plug in your temperature and your velocity for each shot after you've generated your general curve there. If you don't want to have to mess with Excel or anything, you just want to plug it in. That's what this is for. I'm going to show you right after this how to do this yourself, and you'll have more flexibility that way and be able to do more with it. So it's not that difficult. So if you download this file, you'll notice that it's set up pretty much the same way. What you're going to do is you're going to have your 70-degree velocity data, and you're going to plug it into the appropriate chart. In this example, I've used chart 3, and I've color coded these columns here because below uh, there's this other section called recorded data. And what you're going to do is you're going to record your temperature and your velocity here, but you're always going to put the velocity in the same column that your chart is in. So we've put in this data here, and then we look at chart 3 and we have the curve, and then we also have these 2 points here because I've added in 2 points of data here under this section. So temperature always goes in column A, and then in this example, we're always going to put it in column D, as in delta. And this first section, starting with line 35, um, I've grouped it so that you can put 100 data points in this group, and then it lists out the rows here so you know how far down you can go. And then the next group is going to start down here, right around the same place, and this is for the second group, rounds 101 through 200, and it lists out rows 141 to 240 here. So you'll put your temperature here and your velocity here. And what that'll do is when you do that in your chart, you'll actually see a different group, and they'll have different colors. And so you'll be able to see all your group shots like that. So so there's that. And now I'm going to show you. If you just go to Rex's video and go down to the description, obviously you download the file here and save it to your computer. And it's probably going to be in compatibility mode, and if it is, it'll have an orange bar up here, and it'll just have a button that says enable editing. You'll just click that so you can actually edit this file. And my suggestion to you is to go ahead and go to file and click save as, and as the first thing that you do, save it as a different file altogether. Just name it something different so that you'll always have Rex's original on your computer somewhere, so that if you want to start over, or you get another rifle, you can do that, and you won't have to mess around with your other file that you have for your other rifle. Um, so what we're going to do if we do that, so I named this one, I just put my data at the end of the name so I know that this is a different one. Um, we're going to create our own charts. Instead of using these charts down here that he has, we're going to create a new chart. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of the words here, because the kind of chart we're going to create is called a scatter chart, and we can only put numbers in it. So we want the temperature to only be numbers. And when we add in our data later, it's also going to be just numbers. And that's what I did in the other chart, but I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So, and one of the reasons why you might want to do this on your own is, instead of having the data like in this file where they're all on the same sheet and you have to scroll down forever and ever and ever, you might want to organize it into separate sheets. So that's what this is going to allow you to do. And then you'll also be able to have more control over the size of the groups. If you want to have bigger groups, like 500 round groups, you can do that. So the first thing we'll do is add a sheet here. Right click it and go to rename, or I'm going to name it my chart. And then if you should already have your data, so we'll enter in 2950 here. Okay. And so on chart 3, you'll notice that it creates the graph. So we're going to do the same thing on this sheet. And how we do that is you just click and drag just the temperature numbers, hold down the control key on the keyboard and you can click and drag on the velocity numbers and then you'll select all of them. And then you go up to insert and we're going to insert a chart here. And this time what we want is a scatter chart. So we'll pick that and we'll just pick the basic scatter chart. And I don't want it on this sheet, so I'm going to hold down control and hit X. That will cut it from this sheet. I'll go down to my chart sheet that I created and hit control V as in Victor, and that will paste it in here. Okay? Then I'm going to make it bigger. And then these are just dots because this is a scatter chart. But to make it a line, all you have to do is right click it, go to outline, and then you can change the color, right? Make it a nice blue here. And if you want to, you can change other options. You can make it like a thicker line so it's easier to see or whatever. Okay, so there's our curve just like on chart 3. Now we're going to create a new sheet and rename it. We're going to call it first 100 rounds. Okay, and this is where we're going to enter in our data. Instead of on the other sheet where it's all in the same one, we're going to create separate sheets for every group that we want. And I'm just naming the columns here temp and velocity, right? Just to make it simple. So in this example, what we'll do is we'll just plug in a couple of sample data here. Some shots. We'll do between 50 and 60 degrees. So we'll do 55. Make a crazy one so it's easier to see. We'll do 65. Okay. Come back to the chart. And then now we need to get that data from this other sheet into this chart as well. So how we do that is we go to select data. Right click the chart, click on select data. And series 1 is pulling data from sheet 1 out of these columns. That's how we created the chart. So we're going to add a new series. Okay. And the way that this box works is the series name is the name of the sheet that you want to pull data from. X is going to be our temperature value, and Y is going to be our velocity value. And this can be a little bit tricky. It's a little bit finicky, so I created a text file here. I'll also attach this. You can just copy and paste, because what you'll find is if you try to enter in data in this box here, if you're hitting like the arrow keys to try to navigate back and forth in the text box, it's not going to work. You're actually navigating around the cells within the sheet, and that's not what you want. And it's very picky. It has to be exactly right. So the name of the sheet has to be an equal sign and then double quotes around the name, but the data has to have single quotes here, and you'll see that if you download this text file. So I'm just going to copy and paste this just to make sure that I'm doing it exactly right. And you want to make sure that this box is completely empty before you try to paste it in there. I've gone through this a bunch. I'm not really that great at Excel, but I know that this way works, so that's why I'm showing you how to do this. And if you want to make bigger groups, by the way, this is saying for this is the temperature. It says to start in column A at row 2 and go to column A row 101. You can increase this number here to whatever you want. So you can make this like 500, and then you can enter a lot more data points for this group, for the first 100 rounds group, right? If you want smaller, you don't have to make them smaller. You can just enter less data, or you can make them smaller if you want. Let's see here. So we're going to enter for X, that one. And then for Y, we're going to enter this one. Make sure to completely backspace it out. Okay. So, and then as we add more sheets, you're going to add another sheet that says, rounds 101 through 200. And then you're going to come back and add another series for that, just like we did for this one. Okay? And then you'll get this. Now, I don't want this line, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click one of these data points, and I'm going to go to outline and choose no outline. And this is how you get just dots. Okay? So to illustrate what this looks like later down the road, I've created this example file with a lot more data on it. And so, there's two different colors here because there's two groups that I've created. I've created rounds 101 through 200 and first 100 rounds. And I think these yellow ones are the first 100 rounds. And also, in all of these, when you hover, you can see the data for that point, right? So it's 55 degrees, and the velocity was 2895 there. And the last cool thing that you can do with this, and you can change these colors, by the way, just right click them and change the fill color, and it'll change the dots, if you want to make them a certain color or whatever. And the last cool thing you can do with this is you can actually filter this data, and it's this little icon over here that looks like a little funnel. So you click this, and you'll get this window, and you can uncheck groups that you don't want to look at, right? So if you just want to look at one group, you can do that, and then you'll only see the data points for that group. And I think this will probably be a lot more useful down the road. Like if you want to compare the rounds in the 501 to 600 range versus your first 100 rounds, you can do that. Just uncheck every group except for those two that you want to compare, and then you'll see just those. You won't see all the noise because I imagine this will probably get pretty noisy further down the road when there's thousands of points on here. So yeah, so that's all I have for this. This is the first time I've really done anything like this. I just wanted to help out a little for you guys. I'm gonna make another video that shows how to generate this graph. If you don't have Excel, you can actually do it with just a Google account. You won't be able to create these points, but at least you'll be able to generate the curve and print that out. So I'll put that in the next video. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.